a little tiny bit of a hook there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that out. And recontour that heel into a normal, nice, gentle, rounded heel. And also go over to the sides. Kind of recontoured that, took that little bit of a hook that was starting out of there, made it a nice gentle heel again. Again, we still have 2 layers of tape on this. Okay, now comes the switch, as I like to think of it. I've done a 1 layer of tape, which is my normal homing level. And guess what? Now we're going to put the plate back over where it's supposed to go. And pull out a 1K king stone, and I'm going to put a little bit of a slurry on it. I need to cut. Even that out. And we're going to switch to a normal circle stroke. Leans 20 circles to sharp. (25) 30 circles to sharp. We're doing quite a bit of cutting here, so we're not really playing by the rules. But if you notice, we're getting closer and closer to playing by the rules, aren't we? By the way, that's a thumbnail test. Setting the bevel to make sure I have a clean one. All I do is take a wet thumbnail and just with the weight of the razor I set it on my thumbnail and I pull. If I feel a tug, that means the bevel is actually together. There's actually a sharp bevel there. If it's a gentle slide, that means there's no bevel there. The razor's still dull. At this point in time, there's my classic one. At this point in time, it doesn't really matter. I'm not really looking for a sharp bevel. I'm still in restoration technique. I still have to take this to the buffers. Have to take those pits out of there. Have to clean it all up. If you notice, there's rust all in here. This still needs to be restored. But what I'm trying to make sure of is that I can establish an actual clean steel bevel before I do all that. In other words, there's no sense in me doing any more work on this razor if I can't get a clean steel bevel. Which we have now. Okay, there is nice, clean, even steel. There's still pitting in the edge, in the blade. There's still pitting up here. Okay, but the bevel itself has got clean steel. There's no Swiss cheese in there. There's no holes in it. In other words, the bevel's not going to fall apart. So now the razor becomes a restoration project and can be restored, and I'm pretty confident I can get a nice clean shaving edge out of it, considering this razor goes back to the owner had it for 20 years and then let it get rusted, and now we're trying to restore it. Right now there actually is hair being popped, so there is a bevel. No, it does not take hours to do that. If you're taking hours after you bread knife a razor to get a bevel back, you're doing it wrong. The trick to bread knifing, if you have to use it, is that you bread knife, and if there's not as much damage as there was on this edge, notice I bread knifed quite a while on this to get it down to where I needed it to be. Remember, you have to reset the heel if you start bread knifing, and then you just basically start with the bread knife and you move down in degrees all the way until you're back on the spine. You don't bread knife and then start honing. That will take hours. You gently cut back in a bevel. If you actually watch like the Dovo video or something, you'll see them. They will set a pre-bevel by holding this on a turntable, and they will hold the razor up at about a 20-degree angle like this to cut a pre-bevel. Then they set the bevel. Okay, you have to do the same thing. If you're talking about a totally dull razor, you have to start with totally dull. You bring it down, bring it down, bring it down to set that pre-bevel, and then you have a actual bevel. Once you have an actual bevel, it again becomes a razor instead of just steel. Once that bevel has been created, you have a straight razor. Before that, you're just working steel. Again, it's not a honing technique, it's a restoration technique. In fact, I'm not even sure I'm going to put this on SRP. I might put it on my channel. It might never go on SRP. I'm about tired of listening to bread knifing, bread knifing, bread knifing. It's not honing, it's restoration. I could have honed on this blade for a good 2 hours to take off that 1/8, 1/16 of an inch of crud to find out if I actually had a razor that I could take out to then work on. I just did it, and I don't know how much time, maybe 15 minutes. I already have a bevel. I could continue to set this bevel. It's already cutting hair. Hear that? It's already cutting hair. I have a bevel. If this razor didn't need restoration, I could continue on and have it shaving within the next 20 minutes. That is bread knifing and the in between. Oh, one other thing. If the damage isn't as bad, in other words, if you don't have to take out as much steel, you don't have to go to the direct straight bread knifing. You could go to a 60-degree bread knifing. Okay, you could start at any level you needed to there. You go at the 20-degree if you just needed to clean up the bevel a little bit. So you don't have to go to the extremes. You can go to the not so extremes. Again, it does not have to be a straight edge. You can bread knife like this, put smiling back in, and you do the more of the knife strokes with a swoop in it, and keep the smile back in there. So there's different ways to do this. You can recontour the entire edge. Don't forget to recontour the heel. The heel has to be recontoured. You're taking off a lot of steel. It will create a hook back here. It will skip the honing the heel, so you have to recontour that heel. Sometimes you have to recontour the toe also. Normally the toe will follow the rest of the blade though. Thanks again for watching. Once again, this is GS6Gun from SRP and all the other shave forums. See you later.